The Booktubers Booktube book tag. Nailed it. High five to myself. That took me a good 5 times to say that correctly, but I'm not gonna put that footage in. Nope. This tag was created by Strip Cover Lit. Obviously, can you tell? The premise of this tag is to get a handful of your favorite booktubers, describe them as a book, and then pick a book that fits that description, I think. I had a lot of fun creating this list. Here it is, the list, so let's get started. The first booktuber I have is Missy from BingeReader, and I described Missy as a comedy horror novel. And the book I gave her is A Dirty Job by Christopher Moore. This book is about a single father who is raising his daughter alone because his wife passed away not too long ago. But then, out of nowhere, people just start dropping dead around him. They actually drop dead in front of him. That's a little weird. And then he finds out that he is death. It's ridiculous but wonderful, and it made me laugh so much, and this reminds me of Missy. Next I have Britt from Britt Reads, and I describe Britt as a book that understands you, that connects with you. I feel as if she's the only one that truly gets my Pirates and Johnny Depp obsession because she likes them both as well, so that's why I describe her as that. And a book that I think fits that description for me personally is The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. I read this book in high school and I was going through a lot of things at the time, and this book really hit home for me, and I felt that it really understood everything that I was going through, and I really connected with this character, and it was just a really good read. And so Britt gets this book. Next we have Connor from O Brien. I would describe him as a magical middle grade book because he's like the king of middle grade books. I swear, he reads them all, and I want to read all of the books he talks about all the time. Connor, you get Magic, the first book in the Septimus Heap series by Angie Sage. I'm pretty sure you've read this book. I thoroughly enjoyed this book when I read it. It was magical and wonderful, and I had such a good time with the characters. I've only read the first 2 or 3, so I really need to finish up these books. So yeah. Dan from DanMartinLikesYou, and I would describe Dan as a book that made you want to write a book. And I say this because Dan is a writer. He is coming out with a memoir very soon, which I'm actually really excited for. And to be honest, there are a ton of books that I've read that have made me want to write a book, but I'm just gonna go with the most recent book that I read that made me want to write a book. We the Drowned by Karsten Jensen. This is a beautiful book. I've read it twice already, and I want to read it again because it was that great. I was just in awe of the writing, and I just wish I could write this beautifully. Next I have Ryan from ForTheLoveOfRyan. I described him as a book you wish you've already read but you haven't. Every time I watch one of his book reviews, it makes me want to go out and buy the book that he had just talked about right then and there and read the book. And most of the books that he has mentioned on his channel I have not read, but I swear I want to read every single one because they sound so amazing when he talks about them. And the book that I've chosen to go with Ryan's description is one that I haven't talked about before because I feel like I'm going to get shunned for having not read anything by this author. Animal Farm, also 1984. I've never read any George Orwell. I was supposed to in high school. I was supposed to read Animal Farm, but I didn't. I did not. And moving on. Next I have Radar from MoreRadar, and I described her as a book that's witty and made you laugh. And the book I chose to go with this description is Lost and Found by Alan Dean Foster. This is a book that I read years ago, but every time I think about it, I laugh. This book is about a guy that gets abducted by aliens, and he is held captive in this cage on this ship, and in the cage with him is this dog, and this dog can talk. He can talk to the dog and they talk to each other, and it's a wonderful time and it's hilarious, and I just really like this book. Sylvia from WishFulfillment. I describe Sylvia as a book that makes you think. I very recently just read this book called The Sacred Lies of Minnow Bly by Stephanie Oakes. I read this book in one sitting, and for days until this point in time, I'm still thinking about this book. This book centers around a girl who does not have hands. It centers around a cult. It centers around a bunch of insane people. This book made me an emotional wreck. Next I have Gavin from WithinTheGoodBooks, and I described him as a book with a long journey. He's currently reading the BBC's top 100 books, and that is a lot of books, so he has a long journey ahead of him with reading those books. And the book that I think goes with this perfectly is The Lord of the Rings. What journey tops this one? Because I can't really think of one. And lastly, I have Adrian and Dalton from Strip Cover Lit who created the tag. I described them as your favorite book because they're my favorite booktubers, so obviously they get my favorite book, and obviously it's this one. Duh. And that is the Booktubers Booktube book tag. Nailed it again. If you were mentioned in this tag, consider yourself tagged, and you should really do this. It's a lot of fun. Go check out the original tag. I will leave that in the description below. Go check out Strip Cover Lit if you haven't already. Subscribe to them. What are you doing? And that's all I really have to say today. Actually, wait, no, one more thing. Look at my new phone case. I got it today. Isn't it beautiful? I just thought you should look at it because it's pretty. Okay, goodbye.